All right, let's get into this New South Wales State of Origin team. What you think is going to be announced tomorrow morning, or what you would like to be announced, I guess, at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, because they will do what they're going to do, Freddie and Brandy. The question marks. So we think that Latrell is going to be okay to come back in. We know Nathan Cleary's not going to be there, and we know Api Coruscant is not going to be there. Question marks over Cameron Murray with that groin injury and Liam Martin. So the doctor at Penrith today will be having a look at him. So we've got to put a question mark next to him to see if he can get an exemption. Otherwise, under the Category 1 rules, he won't be right. So what's your team for Game 2?
Well, I'm going to name the team that I would pick as opposed to what I think, because they are going to be different. As I said before, I'm almost certain Jerome will be there. But this is my side that I go. And a couple of those players with question marks are going to be there. So Tedesco at the back, To'o and the Fox, Josh Adokar. My centres are Latrell Mitchell and Tommy Turbo, right? Now, with those two blokes, if I'm Freddie, mate, last week I would have driven to their house and just went, boys, Latrell, brother, I don't care if you don't play. I don't even care if you don't train the first 3-4 days in camp. Mate, you just tell me that you're going to be right to go and you're in the side because you're going to win me the football game. I'd say the same to Tommy. Right, that's how you flick the switch on great players. Because if sometimes you've got to think about it, Matty. What's the side they don't want to see down on paper? And it's like if I'm playing for New South Wales during those in the 80s, if I look down on the paper, the Queensland sheet, and I don't see Miles and Meninga in the centres, I'm ecstatic, regardless of the form they're in. So Latrell and Tommy Turbo, just purely on presence, but talent unrivaled. 6, I'll go Cody. 7, I go Reynolds. That combination all fits, and I know sometimes combinations, as we've seen before in other games, don't work, but I think this one would. The combination between Cody and Latrell, Cody gets Latrell going. The combination between Cook and Cody, and the understanding between Reynolds and Cody and Cook. So I go Reynolds and Cody. 13, I go Isaiah Yeo. The two back rowers, I go Liam Martin and Tyson Frizzell. Hooker, Damien Cook, and mate, we've got to get on the front foot straight away. I go Payne Haas and Junior Bolo up front. Get the big boppers going, win the yardage battle early. On the bench, my 14 would be Reece Robson. Like, Reece Robson is a guy, Matty, if you need him to. He's so similar to his teammate there. Geez, I'm slow this morning. It's a Monday morning. Up at the Cowboys. Anyway, I'll get to him in a second. Yeah. Who was man of the match in Game 1. He's so similar. You can play him through the middle. Of course, welcome back, Cotter. Ruben Cotter. Yeah. That's it. You can play him through the middle or at a dummy half. Now, you don't want your 9, in my opinion, playing 80 minutes. It just takes the edge off, and particularly a player like Cook. Robson, 14. Hudson Young, 15. Cam Murray, 16. I have no problem with Cam Murray starting on the bench because you keep him out of the bash and crash early, then you throw him on through the middle after about 25 minutes to create those mismatches against big tired defenders. 17, I go Spencer Leniu. Leniu, in my opinion, takes Tavita's spot. Leniu is a bench specialist. He comes on and he's so explosive. My 18th man would be Matt Burton, simply because he can play with the question mark sitting over Latrell and Tommy, and if you move him into the bench, he can cover for Cody as well. So that'd be my side.
Whew, that was a handful. I was doing shorthand as you were ripping through there. So basically 1 to 5 remains the same, essentially, with Latrell coming in and replacing Stephen Crichton. So you've got Tommy Trbojevic and Latrell Mitchell in the centres, James Tedesco at fullback, the Fox and Brian To'o on the wings. The halves is where you made your big changes. So no room for Jerome Luai for you. Cody Walker comes in. Adam Reynolds will partner him and replace Nathan Cleary. Then, so work with me on this one because I've got scribbles everywhere.
Gotcha.
No Tavita Pangai Jr. You're going Junior Polo in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Correct?
And Payne Haas.
With Payne Haas. Api Coruscant out. You bring in Damien Cook as hooker. Yep. Liam Martin, if he's good to go, comes straight on in with Tyson Frizzell, and Isaiah Yeo remains at number 13. Then on the bench, Reece Robson. That's a big call. 15 is Hudson Young. 16 is Cameron Murray, 17 is Spencer Leniu, and 18 is Matt Burton. Is that how we've worked it out?
God, it's even better when you say it.
I just go from top to bottom. Seriously, mate, if you'd seen the sheet that I just read off, you'd think it's a miracle that I got there in the end. But I'm trying to work out who you've got no room for. We'll break that down after the news. Matty Johns' Origin Team 2 for New South Wales is in. It will be made official, the team, not you, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, unless, of course, they've just taken this. But you have no room for Tavita Pangai Jr., no room for Stephen Crichton with Latrell Mitchell coming back in, and importantly, no room at all for Nico Hines, because you're going Adam Reynolds and Cody Walker in the halves there, and you've gone Reece Robson as the 14. So it's an extraordinary thing, isn't it? It just shows you how quickly it's turned around, because last week you were all in on Nico Hines, but if there's no room for him there's no room for him in the squad at all, is what you're saying.
Well, what's happened is you look at that last performance, Matty, and and you just can't compare it, to what Adam Reynolds delivered, and of course I pushed Cody into the side. Yet the wild card. When you look at all this, Matty, this is the thing about a representative side. Best team versus form team, it's different, because you got to think about team dynamic and how it works. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You go, right, Latrell Mitchell, in my opinion, has got to come in. On presence and talent, he can win you the series, right? So because you bring in Latrell in, then all of a sudden you go, well, who's the bloke who gets Latrell going? Well, it's Cody, okay? Bit unfair on Jerome, but Cody gets Latrell going, so you pencil down Cody. Okay, if Cody goes in, I want to pick Nico, but I've got to see how he's going to go this last game. And all of a sudden, Reynolds comes out of the ground. You go, oh bugger, I'm going to go with Reynolds. He's got the combination with Cody, and he forms combination with Cook and that understanding as well. That's how, that's how you end up with not sometimes the form players, but the best team, and there is a difference. It's tough on Stephen Crichton too, one of their very best players, but just because you deserve to be picked doesn't mean you get picked.
Is it reflective, do you think, in the way that the fact that Queensland are 80 minutes away from winning this series? New South Wales need a team to level the series to keep it alive. So this isn't a series that needs to think about the future. It doesn't need to think about Game 3. It needs to think about the 80 minutes at Suncorp. Otherwise, there's no point in thinking any further down the track.
Well, you go through that team, Matty. On top of everything, it's a really hard-nosed, experienced side. Tedesco's done it all before, right? I understand, didn't play great in Game 1, hasn't been in great club form. He's done it before. You back him to deliver. Toto's played so many big games, as has the Fox. Latrell and Tommy speak for themselves. Cody played a lot of big game football. Reynolds, of course, and go through the pack, mate. Tyson Frizzell and Liam Martin. They're just tough dudes. We're not going to be intimidated. Payne Haas, Junior Bowler. Just tough dudes, not going to be intimidated. We'll actually, we'll enjoy going up there in the hostility at Suncorp Stadium.
What do you do if Liam Martin's out, do you reckon?
Liam Martin, geez, you're throwing a lot at me here on a Monday morning, Matty. Hey, can we talk about that
a little bit later? We'll talk about that in our second hour when the fog clears.
If we do that, I'd probably bring Murray into the starting lineup and then move him into the middle as the game goes on.
All right. So we'll wait to see what happens with that team tomorrow. Give us your thoughts on that. 0457 736 736 is the text line, or 1300 01 1170 is the open line number. A lot of questions around Kian Kalamatangi. Where does he fit into this? What about Hamoli Olakawatu? He was sort of in discussions early on and then fell away from discussions as well. Do you have them hovering around?
Matty, you do. Like, Keon was a really tough one for me to leave out, and of course Olakawatu's been fantastic. But Matt, you consider a lot of things. You're going up there. You're trying to save the series up at Suncorp Stadium. So I'd lean towards experience and guys who have been there and done it before.
I heard something that Cameron Munster said yesterday after the Storm's big win over the Sharks, and we'll get to that in just a sec. But there was a couple of things that he said. One, that he convinced Craig Bellamy just to back off training a little bit for him after Origin 1. And in fact, he said, I only did the captain's run, which was awesome. If I could do that every week, I'd be laughing. But the other part that he said was about backing up after Origin as a badge of honour. So when you play an Origin match and you come back, not just backing up, but it's a badge of honour in the game to say, I backed up and I've put in a good performance. And it's been interesting to see those kind of performances that we've seen off the back. I think of Tedesco, I think of Tommy Turbo, and I think of Munster yesterday. It was a good insight into the way of thinking when you come out of Origin camp, you come back to club level, you don't just rest on your laurels at all.
Well, that's interesting, Matty. I reckon this would have been one of the things that Craig was filthy about in that bad performance against the Cowboys. The fact that guys like Munster and Harry Grant come back into the side and didn't perform in that first game back.
Yeah.
And I reckon that Munster would have been really disappointed himself, as opposed to the Cowboys blokes who came back. Murray Tuolangi, Valentine Holmes, and Ruben Cotter were the stars. Like, you know, they really inspired their sides. Where I would say the bellyache would have grabbed Munster and said, hey, listen, I'm watching you, what you did for Queensland, and you come back and serve that up for us. And Munster yesterday, Matty, was Munster, Harry Grant and Jerome Hughes. They just kept coming in waves against the poor old Sharks. They were fantastic.
Well, they reckon the week that the Melbourne Storm had in training was just absolute nightmare under Craig Bellamy, and that may be the week that faces the Sharks under Craig Fitzgibbon. Perhaps that's the kind of week.
Well, that was... Yeah, we asked Harry Grant yesterday, what was the week like? What was Craig like? And he said, a lot of saliva.
That's right. I saw that. He was in fine touch too on your show straight after the match. I saw that. He was in good nick, Harry Grant. You've got him coming on the show, haven't you, in a week or so?
Couple of weeks. Yeah. My young bloke Cooper's, he lived with Harry for a number of years. So he's like part of the family, that boy.
He shut up Hindy, didn't he? It was...
It
was world class. 0457 736 736. I want to get your thoughts on Luke Brooks, of course. We've now got your team. We need to do our snap judgments. We've got a whole stack of stuff coming our way. We will take a break. We'll do a Ned's update as well after this.